Damn! Alrighty guys, we're gonna change the oil on it today. I want to heat the oil up first. I don't want to run it too long, but I want to get the oil a little bit hot because I want to remove the filter, so I don't want it to be stupid hot, but I do want to get the oil hot so that it drains most of it out of the engine, and then we'll worry about the filter. So let's crank this up. I'm really hoping it doesn't pour out of the ignition too much while this is running. We'll find out. If it starts pouring out the ignition area, then we'll just shut it down, because obviously oil gets in here. So let's find out. Looks like I'm gonna have to replace this battery. I fully charged it and it's only been sitting for a day and it's already down to 11.4 volts. So I'm gonna give it a little 14.8 volt LiPo power to help it get started here. And then we'll go ahead and disconnect it. But yeah, so should have quite a bit of voltage running through it now. So let's see how easy this thing cranks up. No choke. I just want to see if it'll go with no choke. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Alright, and she's spitting oil, so yeah, it's going everywhere. Alright, I'm gonna shut it down. Damn it. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so good battery, cranks right up. Damn it. I did not mean to get oil all over the driveway. Look, it spattered on me too. Alright, so definitely injects oil out of that thing. That was my concern, so it looks like we'll be doing a raw oil change. No heat under it. Alrighty guys, we're going to do an oil change on this thing here today, and got my extendable ratchet. Nice tool to have. Basically can turn it all the way into a full-size ratchet breaker bar almost. It's very long at that point. Takes a size 17. We're going to crack this loose and see if we can get the oil out easily, and then we're going to clean this plug. So here we go. I'm gonna hold it in there with my finger so I can just remove it once it comes loose. It's gonna get on me a little bit, but that's all right. Here we go. We are almost out, or we are out. Okay, we're out. There you go. All right, this does have a little magnet on the end of it. I don't know if you guys can see that. There you go. And it did pick up a little bit of debris. Nothing crazy, but did pick up some. But this oil is super black. This should have been changed a while ago. So this bike is definitely going to love the oil I'm about to introduce it to. It takes almost 4 quarts. 3.5, I think. 3.5? Well, we'll just fill it. We'll watch the eyeglass and we'll fill it as we go. So the eyeglass is on the other side. That's where we're going to add oil. We're going to let this thing drip for quite some time. Get all the old crap out of there, because that oil is not good. I can just see it's not good. It's bad oil. So let me clean this off. I'll see you guys in a minute. Alright, we finally got down to a drip here, which is kind of what I was waiting for. But I do want to talk about these. This is from Moto D. These are your best friend. If you own a sport bike or any small engine like this, these are your best friend. The one with the magnetic tips catch all of the floating debris. You have to think about it like this. The same oil that is in operating the transmission is also the transmission, the clutch is also the same engine oil going up into the engine. So the more debris you can keep out of your system, the longer the longevity of the engine lifespan will be on your bike. So you can't rely strictly on your oil filter, because as you can see, it doesn't work that well, because we ended up with a bunch of shavings and gear shearings and all sorts of stuff down here. This will keep it from recirculating through the engine. It will catch a large amount of that. And the way you know that's accurate is because this bike has 60,000 miles on it. I don't know if you guys know. I originally thought it had 28 because that's what it was posted under, but this bike actually has 60,000, on its way to 61,000, and it still sounds like the day it drove off the lot. It still sounds extremely healthy, like it has tons of power. So it's not that maintenance wasn't done, it just got handed off, and at some point somebody couldn't really keep up with things. But for the most part, the sprocket, the chain, that's a Revzilla chain. The sprocket, everything else is in really good shape on this bike. You can tell somebody spent some money because it has K&N air filters, but obviously someone made some smart decisions along the lines, because this bike made it to 60,000 miles. And for any of you guys to know anything about sport bikes, it is super rare to get a bike, a sport bike, to get that kind of mileage unless you're just driving it very docile and being very gentle on it, right? Or you're doing proper maintenance and keeping up with things. And I can tell you right now, this was not driven very hard for very long. I think whoever originally owned this took very good care of it, and then it was handed off a few times and it was beat up a little bit, but it has not been pushed hard. I know that for a fact because it still has tons of power and the engine doesn't smoke and the transmission's still in good shape. So this bike has the potential to break 100,000 miles in my possession. So very cool. I'm really happy that somebody put care, time, and effort into it, because normally I would avoid a sport bike that has 60,000 miles. But after I started this thing up, heard it immediately start, just, I mean, everything about it was just a happy bike. You know, the components, the shims, everything. It just sounded super healthy. So, but I know now somebody cared for this bike because they thought of the little stuff like this. This is something I immediately do to every bike that I own, is get a magnetic plug, which lets me know at least somebody cared enough to take care of the internals of the engine and the wet sump and the whole system, because this has very good oil flow and it doesn't look like most of this bike has ever been torn apart. So a lot of these are the original parts that still looks like the original starter, and for some reason this has some kind of alternator on it. I thought these things had a stator. This looks like it has some kind of weird alternator. Maybe it's a voltage regulator, I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what that is. That is new to me, whatever that is. And I will investigate that, obviously, but for the most part this bike was really well cared for to have 60,000 miles, pushing 61,000, and sound as good as it does with no issues. I mean, the clutch works great, the brakes work great, the oil pump is kicking hard, you know, the shims and valves sound really healthy. There's no smoke coming out of the exhaust, so we're good to go, man. I think this is I would, you know, now that I know Suzuki's sport bikes get this kind of mileage and this kind of shape, I will not hesitate to buy another Bandit with high mileage, knowing that that's the fact. So I think we're pretty much down to the drip of where I care to wait and sit this one out. So we're gonna start putting this back in here if I can. There we go. So squish that up there with the lock washer. There we go. Boom. Alright, let's crunch it down here. Let's crunch it down. You can get on there. There you go. We don't want to go too tight. About right there. But we also don't want to go too loose because these bikes vibrate a lot. And we don't want things to come loose. So while I'm down here, I'm going to wipe the whole bottom of the block off because I haven't gotten down here this far yet. I still want to go get my degreaser. The only reason there's oil all over everything is because I had an oil leak on the other side of the bike. So it was just dripping on everything. I can still see there's some on the exhaust. I did a good job cleaning most of it, but I still see it everywhere. So there we go. That shouldn't leak now. That's locked down pretty good. I think it's time we add some, well, I guess, you know what? I'm going to drain the filter. We'll go ahead and pop the filter next. Let me see if it's hand tight or not. I highly doubt it's hand tight. This looks like it was probably cranked down pretty hard by somebody. And there's not a whole lot of room to play with, so I might actually end up having to order the stupid tool to get this off. Oh yeah, man, I got like no room to work with here. Yeah, that was put on very tight, as I suspected. So that's unfortunate. Gonna have to get some channel locks to get that off there. So let me just do the filter. I'm gonna do it with some channel locks. I'll go ahead and order the removal tool for the future. So probably not gonna show the removal of this. We're just gonna go ahead and add oil, but I think you guys have a pretty good idea how this works. So let me get this oil out of here and we'll continue with this change. Right? Right. Alrighty guys, so I already pulled the cap here. We're gonna set that down right there. Looks like the seal's still good on it. Drop that down in there. And here's your filler line. Go until it reaches F. Pretty simple. I mean, it's just not much to it. Go until you reach F, and if you do change your filter out, once you reach F, start the engine, run it for about 2 minutes, then turn it off, wait for the oil to settle, and that will circulate it through the oil filter that you put on there, and then you'll have your accurate reading again because you're going to need to add more oil. So 1040 synthetic life. Let's give this baby some love. That is clean oil going in, baby. She loves it. All right, let's do a line check. Yeah, we haven't even reached it down here yet. So, more. She's still thirsty. All right, let's see where we're at. Okay, look at that. We're about to touch on F. Little low still. Tad bit low, she just needs a little bit more. Probably about right there. See where we're at. And there's F. Okay. Now I'm gonna do the whole process to start it, all that stuff. Good luck, hope that helped.
Good afternoon. Please give your attention to my associate, Agent J. He's going to demonstrate an electro-biomechanical neural transmitting zero synapse repositioner. We call it the neuralizer. Keep it simple, Slick.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Agent K. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, look right here.